Welcome back to Code with Petit Pois. Okay, um, here we are using the Kenny.nl assets. These are free commercial assets that you can use. We're downloading stuff that we can use for the kids' games. I'm looking at the fish pack. It's got some nice it's got some nice things for kids. I'm just downloading it to my downloads folder. Um, and we're also going to look at some other assets. I'm using 2D because it's just easier to start with 2D. We're going to use possibly the brick pack. You can download completely for free or you can donate. Kenny makes these assets and they're really, really good. Especially if you just want to focus on making the game rather than having to make absolutely everything. I encourage you to go and take a look and see what else he has in way of assets when you actually want to make a specific type of game. But like I said, we're using these just for keeping in mind that we're making kids games, so we're gonna stay away from the platformers and planets and things. We just want cute, quite big characters. We'll stay away from pixel as well. Oh, the animal pack looks good. That might be good. And let's take a look at that. Yeah, that's good. Maybe we can use that for like an animal matching game of some kind, or even animal sounds. What else do we have? It's good to take a look and see what kind of things that you want. You might only just want backgrounds, or you might want specific characters. If you're making some kind of top-down game. Let's take a look at these assets. Yeah, let's download some of those. Maybe we'll be using that for something. Let's take a look. Okay, we've got, that's a nice puzzle pack, but we're not making that complicated type game, so no. We might use, so they've even got isometric. Okay, I think this is good. And what we're going to do now is I'll show you how we import that into our project. It's fairly straightforward to do so. So once we have decided, let's take a look at this. We're not making, no, that should be fine. But this is a good place to go to get free assets. So here we are back in our project, and we are on the menu screen. And I'm going to open the art folder, and we're going to go to Assets, Import New Asset. Now I'm going to go to my downloads where I downloaded all my packs. They come in a zip file, and I've unzipped them. So we're going to use the fish pack, and let's take a look at some of the sprites that we get. We get all these sprites, so we're going to look at the sprite sheet. So you could download it as a sprite sheet and just do it that way, or you can import them individually. These are all the backgrounds already cut up for you. We might do that. That might be a better way of doing it. So we're gonna let's do the terrain. Actually, yeah, let's get all the bubbles and the fish first. And we'll even do the HUD. Got numbers 1 to 9. And we say import. Okay, so it imports it as a sprite 2D, but we want them all to be single, not multiple, unless you were obviously doing a sprite sheet. In that way, you would you'd say multiple and split them up. So we've got all these fish here, which is great, and some numbers, which is great. I don't necessarily need the dollar, so I'll remove that. It's always good to just only have what you need. So I've got 0 to 9, and I've got all these fish. And we also want a background. So let's just do that again. Assets, import new asset, and just look at some of the backgrounds. We've got rocks, we've got seaweed, and we've got some terrain. So let's do that. We've also got some more terrain at the bottom here. So alright, let's just import that for now. Let's see what we got. Oh, okay, I think we got what we need here. Some nice terrain. We've got the background. Oh, just realised we've not put it in the right place. So we just shift select them, change them to single, and move them into art. It's always good to have all your art in one place. So all we'd have to do now, let's say we wanted to add a background to our scene. Actually, no, let me just import one more asset. Let's see if we can get a generic color for our background. Let's see. Oh, let's do the sand. Sand A. Import those. Sorry. Import there. Change it to single and apply. Okay. So we can always verify. Yep, all of them are single. Great. So let's say we wanted this background to be blue. We can just drag it to the hierarchy, and it shows up on the screen. Now it shows up like so because it's using it as a game object. But the canvas has an option where you can add an image. So we'll do that. And we make the image fill out the whole screen by holding down Alt and this one, this symbol over here. And then we can change the sprite to whatever we want. So we can have any sprite. We can go through all of them. But we know I want to use this one for now. And as you can see, the image is blocking everything else. It just means we need to move this back to the top, which basically puts it behind everything else. So we've got Tiny Chaos Minigames, and this button is the pop the fish, sorry, or pop the bubbles, whatever. And we've now got a background. Okay. So now when we press play, nothing changes. We just have the same menu screen and the same button, but now the background is the background we want. But obviously, now that we have all of these, we can actually start kind of filling out another screen, which will actually be the scene where we have the actual game. So what we can do, we can say File, New Scene, and we're just gonna say Lit 2D. That's fine. And what we're going to do this time, we're just going to drag in the background and zoom in. We're not going to use the UI on this one. We are just going to use it as a game object and fill the screen this way. So this is another way of doing it. So as we know, this is all about fish, so we want some water. And we're going to save the scene as pop the fish. Yeah, pop the fish. Okay, so that's the That's the scene name, and that's the whole game is going to be in this section. So we can fill out the scene now by adding some fish. So we can add a pink fish, a red fish, an orange fish, a green fish, and a blue fish. Okay. So as you can see, we can see the screen, and if you make it the size bigger, it's further away. Make it size smaller, it's closer. Okay, so we'll leave it 4. Okay, so now sorry, I'm just gonna get rid of, I want just the fish blue, not the one with the outline. So we got the fish blue and the pink fish as well, just the pink. Okay, so now we have these. So now we, as you can see, they're all on top of each other, so we can move them around. Oops. Fish there. Make sure the scale is 4, like we did before, and the fish pink scale is 4. Okay, so we've got 5 fish. Okay. Another thing we can do, we can add some background, like the seaweed. As you can see, I can't see the seaweed on the screen because they're all on the same layer. So what Unity does, they have sorting layers. So everything from all the background and the fish are on the same layer, layer 0. So we always want to see the fish, so we're going to put the fish on layer 2, and we're going to put the background on layer 1. Now, as you can see, the I'm going to make sure the background's a bit bigger, and we're going to change the seaweed to black so that we can see it, because I believe that it's the same color as the background, so we're not going to be able to see it. So we could do this, and then we can move it to where we want. So we can move it here, and we can duplicate it so that there's quite a few different types of seaweed. Okay, oops. And I'm holding Alt, holding Control V and paste, and paste, and paste. So now we're kind of getting a water scene here. Now, I mean, this, you can change this, you can change these at any time. So we could change this to just a 2. This one could be a different one, it could be these. So make it look a bit different. Whatever you want to do, you can make them darker, lighter. And as you can see, we're getting a lot in our hierarchy. So what's usually done is you shift select everything that you want, you right click and you say empty parent, and we're just going to say seaweed background. Okay, so now everything's contained in that area. We can do the same with the fish. We can say empty parent fish. Okay, so this is our little scene, but how do we go from our main menu to this scene and back again? So first of all, before we do that, let's create a button, and that's going to take us back to the main menu. Okay, we're going to make sure that the canvas is the same as the other one. The screen size is 1920 by 1080. That's the standard for a screen. So it's going to be in the top corner, and we're going to call it, we're just going to make it quite prominent, and we're going to say menu. Okay, it auto size it. So it could be at the top, it could be at the bottom. It's wherever you want to put it. I like putting it at the top. In this case, it makes more sense to put it there. Or you could say, and you change the text, it could say back. But I like to say menu because that's what we're doing. We can change the image at the back if we wanted to. So you could have the same sort of colors. You could have a fish as the background. You can have whatever you want. So I'm just going to have it be black and white for now. So I'm changing the color of the button here to black. We can change it back to white, button black, and the text the same. You can change it to any color you want. But I'm just going to keep it black and white. Okay, let's keep it color free, so that's fine. So what we want to do is now make sure we save and go back to our menu scene. Okay, so this is our menu scene, and there's the pop the bubbles button. I'm going to change that to pop the fish. It doesn't mean anything, but it's just for us, our sake. And we can also change the color to white and the actual button to black. Let's keep it consistent. And now what we want to do is we want to make a script that will take us from this scene to the other scene. Okay, so in our scripts folder, we're going to right click and create a mono behavior script. And we want to call this one, because it's all about the main menu. Sorry if you don't do it quickly enough. Let's just do that again. It's okay, let's try that again. So I think we're going to call it menu manager. So it's going to manage everything in the menu. And what we're going to do, we're going to actually create an empty game object called menu manager, and reset that. This empty game object is just going to hold this one script. So you have two options. You can either drag the script to there, or you can add component script. Menu manager, and there's the same script that we created. Okay, so either way is fine. There's no right or wrong. So what we're going to do, we're going to connect the menu manager to the button. So the button has a option called on click, so which we can press the plus, and we can say drag the menu manager here, and then we're going to let it load a function. So we can actually open up the script. Like I said, this is Visual Studio that comes with it. It might even give you the option of Visual Studio Code. We're going to write a function. So a function is basically a set of rules for the computer to follow. There's a way of talking or making a function in Unity using C#, which is what it uses. And if you want to know more about that, Unity Learn has really good tutorials on the basics of writing scripts in Unity. So, and also there are tutorials on YouTube as well. So our first, by default, you're given two functions, the start and the update. We're going to write our own function, and we're going to say public. So we want to be able to access this from anywhere in our project. So we'll say public void open scene, and then we'll tell it what scene to open. Okay, so that's called giving it a parameter. Okay, now we need to use something in order to open scenes. It's called Unity Engine dot scene management. Okay, so this scene manager is going to be able to make us be able to open the scene. So we're going to say scene manager dot load scene, and it's going to take in the scene name. Okay, so let's go over what we said again. So this is public so that the button can access it, and we're going to open the scene. So this is which scene are we opening. The scene manager will load the scene once it's been given a name. Okay, so we can say that's fine. We can save that. And now if we go back to our button where we had dragged in the menu manager game object, so if we scroll through to where we put the button here, so at the moment there wasn't a function, so now we can look at the menu manager and say, oh, is there a function? Oh yeah, open scene. Now what scene do we want to open? What did we call our scene? Pop the fish. So say pop the fish. Okay, now if we do this now, it's not going to work because the scenes don't know that they exist yet. So what we need to do is we need to go to build profiles, and at the top here you've got scene list. Okay, so right now the only scene that it has available in our scene list is the menu. Fine. So if we click to pop the fish, it does, I don't know what that is, so I'm not going to open it. So now what we need to do is drag pop the fish onto the scene list, and now Unity knows that there's also a scene called pop the fish. Okay. Now obviously we're going to need another script in the other scene in order to go back, but we'll do that one at a time. So now if I press play and I say pop the fish, there we go. We've gone to the scene that we created with the fish. Okay, now as a challenge, you could go into your pop the fish scene and create a script to go back to the main menu. What you will call it, that's up to you. I'm going to call mine pop the fish manager, because everything that we're going to be doing next should be all contained in one file. Okay, so here's pop the fish manager, and we want to do exactly what we did before. So using Unity engine dot scene management, we're going to say, now we could simply just copy and paste what we wrote here, but I like to write it every time. That way it's in your head, you know, okay, public void open scene string scene name scene manager dot load scene name. All right, so that's there. Now obviously we need to now connect the button. So first of all, we need to create an empty game object called pop the fish manager. Okay, and reset that and save. And then here we are, and we can say pop the fish manager is there. Now on our button, on the on click, you want to drag the pop the fish manager into the slot and say pop the fish manager open scene, and it's called menu. Now we know it's already in the scene list, so this should work. So now we can test by saying press and play. So now if we click on the menu, we go back to the scene. If we click on pop the fish, and if we click on the menu, and pop the fish, menu, back and forth. Awesome. Now, as you can see, there's not a lot of interaction when the button is pressed. So what we can do is, instead of color tint, we can do sprite swap. So we can say when it's pressed, show the fish sprite. So let's try that. There we go. So you can change the sprites there. I mean, I'm gonna leave it how it was, but that's what you could do as well. You do color tint. Because we've made the button black, we can change the normal color is grey. Sorry, so because the image is black, so we can change the image back to white, but change the normal color to black, and the pressed color will be white, or so, yeah. So you can change those. So it could be any colors you want. I mean, black is, so we could do more of a grey color, or a blue even, dark blue. As you do, you just play around with what you like. I like this. I'm going to keep this blue. So I like this blue. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to click on this swatch down here. So that the one in the scene, the menu scene, I'm going to change that back to the image back to white, and the actual normal color to this swatch down here. Okay. So now we start with our menu scene. We've got pop the fish, and as we click over it, we'll go back to our menu and back and forth. Okay, that's looking a little better. And obviously you can add in as much art as you want. Like I've got some other assets that I've downloaded. Let me go to my downloads. Sorry, downloads. Here we are. I also have the animal redux, didn't I? This time I want round or square. Ooh, square. The square ones? Yeah, let's have the square ones. So we could add some add some more images to our canvas. We can say right click, import image. So say animals, and we can say fish. So this one could be elephant, and this one could be fish. Red. Okay, so we got these two. So we can make sure that they preserve the aspect ratio. That means they'll stay in the right aspect ratio. So no matter how big or small we make them, they'll still be so we can duplicate those, move them over, and change this to, I don't know, pufferfish, and this one could be the duck. So we've got, you can mess around just to kind of show the kind of games that I'm going to be making. You can put all the animals in the same spot and all the fish in the other spot. Obviously, we need a animal sounds button. We're going to say animal sounds. So this one. So literally you can just dot them all around. And as you can see, these, if you want them to be at the top, you have to drag them to the top here. Obviously, yeah, you can mess around with whatever you want, but this is looking a bit more interesting than the plain background. We can change this to black so that can be seen a bit better. And there we go. So this is the menu is sorted. Now obviously the animal sounds button, we don't have the animal sounds yet, so we'll do this one first. But in order to probably see what it looks like when you have more games, you can do that, because we added our grid layout in our first there we are. So we can do this. So now we put animal sounds button. Okay, so it's a bit more substantial, so we know this is the kind of space we want to work with. Okay, so let's just get rid of those, because right now we're going to do this, and this is leading up to making our first game, which is Pop the Fish. So as we did before, we can take the animals here and put it as UI images background. Okay, it's nice to like keep everything nice and tidy. Good practice. And there we go. Okay, so now we have our menu. And pop the fish. And there we go. As you can see, these are very different to these ones. And I wonder if it's because no, that's fine. Just checking the they're fine. So there we go. We can even add some. Oops, not there. Let's just add some of these. Oops. We can change the background to like numbers. We can change that to number. Duplicate that. Move it over here. Change the number to 8. Etc. So yeah, you can, like I said, mess around with whatever you want to make your menu look interesting. Make it look a bit more appealing. And there we go. Okay. So it's quite interesting. Okay, so that is all that we're going to do today. I mean, I can mess around with these all day, really. I might change that actually to bubbles. Yeah, might change these to bubbles. This one to bubble. And there we go. Alright, so like I said, I could be tweaking this all day. You can add more animals, etc. You could have you didn't have to use the UI, you could have just used the sprites themselves. That works too. But I like to use the UI. So yeah, there we go. Alright, so in the next tutorial we'll actually start making more scripts in order to actually make the Pop the Fish game.